What's up, guys? Lucky Locks here. Welcome back to another prediction video. This is going to be for Dana White's Contender Series and the finale of this season. So, Contender Series coming to an end. Before we get into it, I'm just going to give a quick little plug to my BetMMA.tips page. So just go to BetMMA.tips/luckylocks. You can see all the bets that I place and see how I do. And yeah, it's completely transparent, and for now it's also completely free. So feel free to head on over there and have a look. So the first fight we have on this card is going to be at flyweight, and it's between Zhifa Shang and Juan Puerta. Shang is 35 years old now, has a ton of fights, and an excellent record at 32-7. He's considered one of the best 125-pounders in China. Might be a little late to make this transition in his career to the next level at his age now, but combined opponent record of 139-68, so actually pretty decent competition level. I mean, there's a few Russian guys that look okay. Has 19 submissions. I don't see him being able to sub Puerta here, and I don't really see him having too much success standing with the size difference either. I mean, I say it's good competition, but obviously, I mean, there's guys that are 6-1 or whatever on weaker regional scenes, not really the same as a 6-1 fighter on kind of a stronger circuit. But still, I don't want to take anything away from the record. It's definitely very impressive, and still, a little better than you probably expect lately with these Chinese prospects coming over. Puerta trains at ATT Georgia, also a little bit older at 33 years old, but younger in the matchup against Zhifa here. He has a lot of fights and an excellent record of 22-6 as well, kind of similar stages in their career at this point. And I mean, he did do it in a bit of a more difficult talent pool, in my opinion, than Zhifa did. If Shang was fighting the same guys as Puerta, I don't know if he'd be 32-7. Puerta is currently riding an 11-fight win streak, and he will be the bigger man in this matchup. With it looks like he'll have 2 inches in height and about 4.5 inches in reach. He was the Titan FC 125-pound champion and defended that twice. Hasn't had a loss since 2017, but his losses have been pretty good regional guys. Jared Scoggins, Johnny Campbell, CJ Hamilton, all three have competed, or in the case of Scoggins, I believe was slated to compete in Bellator now. And, Puerta has 12 submissions. I think he can neutralize the submission attack of Shang. So I actually have Puerta in a parlay, in a fight between two guys who have been around the block. I think that Puerta is better prepared for this moment, and he also has some physical advantages that I like, so I do have him in a 2-pick parlay for this card, actually. The next fight we're going to be talking about is going to take place at the featherweight division between Jonas Bilharinho and Canaan Kawaihae. And this should be a pretty interesting matchup. I think this is honestly the fight I'm most looking forward to on this card. Bilharinho, Brazilian Jesus, is back. Looked to be in good shape on the scales. Had 2 fights canceled in 2020. One was Justin Gonzalez on LFA, and that would have been a great fight. Too bad that we missed out on that one, but we'll get to see him here. And if you see a Brazilian on Dana White's Contender Series, what does that mean? Normally, it means the guy has a ton of knockouts. So Bilharinho has a 88% finish rate, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. And the problem is here, he just isn't active enough for me. He fights 3 times in 2012, then kind of fights sporadically between 2013 and 2016, then takes 3 years off after his first loss. Now we haven't seen him for 2 years since his last fight in 2019. And, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. I realize that Kawaihae just came off a 3-year layoff himself, but he's 24. He got 7 pro fights in before he was, 21 or 22 years old. His only loss was Chase Hooper on Dana White's Contender Series. He beat Tim Tevez on Bellator. And, he comes back this year, gets a huge win over Jake Childers on LFA, and looked to have made some improvements. It's hard to tell since it only took him 20 seconds to find the choke, but finishing Jake Childers in 20 seconds is no small feat. He's a guy who I really believe is a top-tier regional fighter, and I think that Kawaihae has something special for sure. So I think this is going to be a great fight. Like I said, potentially the best on the card. I'm going to go with Canaan Kawaihae here. Younger. I feel like he's making more improvements. And we haven't really seen Jonas in a while, but he also was a really good fighter and did look good today on the scales. I wouldn't mind a play on Kawaihae, but I missed the plus money on this one. He opened as the dog. He shifted to the favorite. So I'm going to pass here. But yeah, I'm going to pick Canaan Kawaihae to win this one. Alright, so moving on to the next fight on the card, we have another flyweight matchup, and it's between Lun Qiu and Erisson Ferreira. And Qiu is 14-7, got pretty good size for 125 pounds, similar to Sumaderji in that regard, but just not as good. His combined opponent record is 65-21, and that actually is pretty good. Similar to what I was saying about Zhifa Shang earlier. Yeah, their combined opponent records are good, but of course, like I said, I gave the example of like a 6-1 fighter on kind of a lower level circuit isn't quite as good as a 6-1 fighter on a really strong regional scene. But like I said before, I'm still pretty impressed, and it definitely seems like he's challenged himself, has some knockouts, has some submissions, and I think that he has a decent chance to win out of all the Chinese prospects that we've seen so far in Contender Series. He's been more active than his opponent has here. Erisson Ferreira has a more impressive record at 10-1, but a less impressive strength of schedule record-wise. I mean, his combined opponent record is 20-19. And although I do rate the Brazilian regionals higher than I do the Chinese regionals, it's still, it's not the greatest strength of schedule ever. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it too much. He has a lot of stoppage wins. He has 8 for sure. Could be all 10. I mean, method of victory isn't listed for all of them on Tapology. So, I'm tentatively going to say that he has 100% finish rate, maybe 90, 80% at the very minimum, because we know that for sure. Has some good finishing instincts, really explosive early. He hits really hard for 125 pounds. And, like I was kind of talking about before, the UFC matchmakers just look at the Brazilian regional scene and say, who has the best record, pairs with just a ton of KOs, and they just plop them on the Contender Series. And it's another one of these aggressive and powerful Brazilian fighters. So I'm going to go with Ferreira here. I think that he's better, but I just don't like the -550 or -600 price tag. I think he should be, a decent favorite, but maybe not that high. So I'm going to pick Ferreira here, but I'm not going to bet this one. Okay, so I said earlier that the Kawaihae fight was the one I was most looking forward to. That was a lie because I kind of momentarily forgot about this one. This is definitely the fight I'm most looking forward to on this card. Johan Lainesse against Justin Burlinson, 170 pounds at welterweight. Lainesse opened up his career with 3 wins on TKO, which is a Quebec-based MMA promotion, 2 round 1 stoppages, followed that up with 4 wins on CFFC, 3 knockouts, 1 decision. Most recently scored a round 2 TKO with body shots over a really solid opponent in Evan Cutts, and that was to secure the welterweight belt in CFFC. He has a 71% finish rate, undefeated as a pro at 7-0. Just a very solid resume leading up to his Dana White's Contender Series. Some fighters on this card, I don't really consider them to have, we'll say sufficient evidence that they're ready for a chance on Dana White's Contender Series, ready for potentially to be a UFC fighter. I think that Lainesse has that. He is a technical striker. He has a lot of power at 170 pounds, really makes an impact when he lands. Sometimes loads up a little bit too much and whiffs. Hasn't really been punished for that much at the lower levels. He likes to walk people down. Has a nice counter left hook that he throws, comes over the top with it almost like an overhand, and that's pretty useful to him from what I've seen on tape. He hits really hard, comes forward. That's kind of the cliff notes on this guy. Burlinson, on the other hand, is a 24-year-old undefeated English prospect. He's 6-0, 17-1 amateur career spanning 4 years. You'll love to see that. Tons of experience. Fought on Cage Warriors and Bellator Europe events. His last fight came against David Baer. He was controlled for essentially the whole first round. Got a takedown of his own with like 10 seconds left. And the second round, Burlinson really starts to take over, stuffs the first takedown attempt, finds a finish about halfway through the second. Looked really good. And I think that both guys in this fight are worthy of a look from the UFC matchmakers here. As far as a pick goes, really like both guys. I'd like to see both guys make it to the next level. But at the prices here, I'm going with Johan Lainesse. He opened as a slight favorite at -120, kind of a pick'em line. I just don't think he should be +200. Should Burlinson be the fave? Yeah, I can see it, sure. I definitely wouldn't be playing Lainesse if he wasn't the dog. But yeah, I like Lainesse at the price. I'm going to wait and see if I can get an even better price closer to the fight. He's around +200, and maybe we could get him a little bit over that later on. But yeah, I'm going to be going with Johan Lainesse as an underdog pick here. So we've arrived at the main event of the evening now, and this should be a really interesting matchup between 2 lightweights. And we have Achilles Estremadura and Maheshate. I'm really not sure the pronunciation on that, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm butchering it, which I probably am. But Achilles is coming in here 7-0, BFL champ, not PFL, BFL, a regional promotion based in Western Canada out of BC. Really hasn't had to fight the toughest competition. Combined opponent record is 51-57, so a little below the 500 mark, but he's light on his feet, he's quick, he has good hands, he rips the body. He has a diverse striking attack, mixes it up pretty well, going to the body, going to the head, some body kicks too, pretty decent for him as well. And in his last performance in March, he was very impressive with a round 1 knockout. We'll have to see what he looks like against tougher competition, but I don't think he's matched up super tough here. Maheshate is a 21-year-old prospect out of China. He lost his first pro fight on M1 in a Chinese event, and he won his next 5. His combined opponent record is 20-27, so also below the 500 mark, and only 2 of his 6 opponents have had a pro win going into the fight. None of his opponents have had a winning record, and I couldn't really find much in the way of tape on this guy. But, from what I can see here, guys, I like Estremadura here. I like Achilles to win. I think he's going to be the better fighter. He's like minus 550, getting really up there. So obviously I'm not eager to lay that chalk, but I really think he gets it done. I think that the line is more due to the reason that people are a little bit low on Maheshate here. And I'm kind of with them. I feel like Achilles is better. He is the second leg of a 2-pick parlay for me. So I like Achilles to get it done. I don't think that he's matched up super tough here, and I have liked what I've seen from him on tape. So that's going to be my pick, and that's going to do it for my Contender Series picks, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Good luck on your bets all week and this weekend, guys. As always, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.